Hello, GotAUkulele.com, back with another instrument review. This time another one from the extremely well-known brand name Mahalo. A lot of my readers think I'm completely down on Mahalos. I'm not. I'm just down on badly made instruments, and some of their brightly coloured pink cheap 20 quid things are pretty terrible. This though is something a little bit different. It confusingly goes by a couple of names. The 2016 K Soprano, although it's labelled as the U/LTD2/G. I don't know what that stands for, but there we are. You'll see it in both names online, and it's a soprano. Fairly standard shaped soprano, quite a nice shaped soprano. Nothing particularly magical about it, but it is a far cry from those brightly coloured ones. This is a solid mahogany top instrument. That's a solid piece of mahogany. I think it's in two pieces, side to side, but other than that, pretty plain, but I like my mahogany plain. And then it gets kind of blingy on the back and sides. Stripy. This is laminate wood, and it's a laminate with an outer veneer. Depending on what site you look at, I've seen different sorts of wood names given to this. The Mahalo site doesn't say it's koa, but the shops say it's koa. I don't know what it is. Being laminate though, it doesn't affect the tone greatly in terms of its tone profile, but it looks nice. There we are. It's got a bit of bling, a bit of abalone around the sound hole, black, white, black edge binding, and this nice wooden binding here. I think it looks classy, and the whole thing is finished in a satin finish, which is tactile, no glue spots, bubbles, or rough areas. Pretty nicely done, Mahalo. We've got a rosewood slotted bridge for easy string changes, and a new bone compensated saddle, if you can see the compensation there. And looking inside, neat, tidy, notched kerfing. The bracing, though, I think looks a bit chunky. You can just about see it there. It's overly braced, I think. Let's see how we go. The neck, NATO wood, 3 pieces with a joint here and a joint at the headstock. Nice little mahogany cap there on the heel. That's topped with a rosewood fingerboard, which seems to be in good condition. The frets, 12 of them, nickel silver, 12 to the body. I'd like a few more on a soprano, but that's fairly standard. They've got sharp fret edges though. That's not good, Mahalo. Position markers at 5th, 7th and 10th spaces, and thankfully they are repeated on the side. Plastic nut and up to the headstock, crown shape with the cheap looking Mahalo logo. And then first major problem. Oh my word. Mahalo stick these tuners on pretty much everything of theirs. Those dolphin shaped open gears with massive buttons. They're horrible. They're grindy to turn. They look awful. I mean, these would fit a guitar. The buttons are just too big. I don't like geared tuners on soprano ukuleles, but if you're going to put them on, choose small buttons. I mean, look, it looks stupid. Absolutely hate them. But it's not just aesthetics. Heavy tuners like that on a soprano throw the balance of the instrument. When you're holding an instrument, it should be balanced at the 12th. It's not. It's constantly trying. It's neck heavy, we call it. It's trying to get away from me. If you're an established player, you'll probably be able to deal with that. If you're a beginner learning to hold a ukulele for the first time, just another thing that you're going to be fighting against. Not good, really not good. For all of that, £80, Aquila strings, and a really nice Mahalo padded gig bag with good quality straps. I really like that. If it is a little bit wider looking, but good quality. Now that sounds good. 80 quid, solid wooden top, nicely finished, no real complaints on that. It's got some issues, but let's have a look in a bit more detail. Setup wise, saddle's a little bit too high, needs to come down a little bit, but within acceptable levels. The nut, far too high. That's a bit more complicated for a beginner to deal with. How can I tell? Well, listen, if I squeeze, that's me squeezing my finger on and off. Can you hear the warble? That's it going out of tune because the nut is too high. No amount of putting a compensated saddle on to deal with intonation is going to do any good whatsoever if you can't get the setup right. The setup is not good on this. Sharp fret edges, as I say, and not balanced. Sound-wise though, real far cry from those brightly coloured Mahalos. It's not got quite the volume punch that I would like from a soprano. I like them to have a bark and a kick, but it's... Can you see it? That would be better, wouldn't it? That's sounding a little bit out of tune. It's not. I've just tuned this with a strobe tuner, really accurate tuner. The reason it's sounding out of tune on these low frets is because that nut is too high. So it's causing intonation problems from the off. It can be fixed. Buy from a good dealer, not from Amazon. A good dealer will be able to do that for you as part of the service. There we go. Shouldn't really leave the factory like that, but I'm afraid they do. Finger picked. It's passable. It's all right. As a beginner's instrument with a setup, it will do you okay. My problem actually with it is the price. 80 quid sounds like a bargain. I would rather have a Carla Baton Rouge laminate for less money, or I would rather have something like an Ohana solid top that you can get. I think it's the OK20 has a solid top, same sort of money. That's expensive for Mahalo. Particularly with things like those tuners, which are just horrible. But you know, if you bought one, you're not going to be making a huge mistake if you buy one from a good dealer and have it set up properly. It just doesn't really set the world on fire for me, but as I say, in the realms of some Mahalos I've played, it's one of the best I've played. It's just not one of the best ukuleles I've played. Mahalo 2016K, or if you like, the LTD2G Soprano, solid mahogany top, laminate back and sides, £80 with a gig bag. More reviews coming very soon. Stay tuned. Thanks for watching.